What's up, guys? This is Ryan Lee with Cash Flow Tactics and the Financial Freedom Formula, back with you yet again to deliver another episode of how you can achieve financial independence in your life in 10 years or less. So everything we do at the Financial Freedom Formula is to show you the exact process, the exact steps that you can follow to achieve your goals in 10 years or less. Now, how do I know this is true? I know this is true because it worked in my life, it's worked in all of the other owners of Cash Flow Tactics, and it's worked in hundreds of clients' lives. So I'm excited to share this with you today. And what we're going to do is we're going to dive into a brand new section of this Financial Freedom Formula today. So as you guys can see, there are 4 basic steps, right? There's step 1, why you'll never have the retirement that you want using traditional strategies. It's important to start here, because knowing what doesn't work makes it so much easier to figure out what does work. So the next thing is the black box, the investing strategies of the wealthy. Believe it or not, the people who are actually getting what they want out of their financial plan, they're not doing what you and everyone else are doing better. They're doing the exact opposite. So in the black box, we actually go through and we show you what these people are doing. In step 3, we show you that 90% of all self-made millionaires are doing one thing, and why you should too. We're actually going to be diving into step number 4 today, cash flow banking, the ultimate financial tool of the wealthy. Now this right here, this is probably my favorite section, I'll be honest with you. So if I get a little bit giddy and excited, you'll know why, okay? So there's actually quite a few things that we're going to cover in this. And before I go any further, let me remind you that if you want your own copy of this Financial Freedom Formula, this represents hundreds of hours and well over 6 figures of investment on my end and on the other people involved with Cash Flow Tactics. It represents a significant investment on our end to compile all of this data and all of this research and practical application over the years into this formula. You can actually get your own copy of this by texting cashflow to 797979. So cashflow to 797979, okay? So the first thing we're going to go into today is what we're going to call the paradigm shift. Okay, so I've got a picture here of Einstein. Let's see if we can make that a little bit bigger. That is really small. So what Einstein says here is we cannot solve problems using the same level or the same kind of thinking that we had when we created them. So in order to get out of the mess that we find ourselves in financially, we have to do things not just better, but different. And so we need to break down our old paradigm and rebuild it with a new paradigm. Now, if what you're doing today, investing in stock market and mutual funds, is working, this might not be the place for you. But if you want something not just better, but completely different, then this is the place. And we have to start off with the biggest lie told in American finance. So think about where you put your money today, okay? There are primarily 2 places that you put all of your money today. What most people do is they take their money and anything that's going to go to short-term savings, right? If they need money for a vacation, if they need money to fund medical expenses or whatever it might be, most people will choose a bank, right? And the reason they choose a bank is because they want to use the money in the short term. Think about saving for a vacation and putting that money in the stock market, right? If the stock market takes a dive tomorrow, well, there goes your vacation. So most people, they use banks for their short-term savings, and they use it for 2 reasons. They use the bank because they want their money to be liquid and they want it to be safe. Whenever they get ready to pull the money out, they want it to be there, and they want it to be there without any exception. Now, the downside, when you put your money in a bank, is there any benefit outside of the liquidity and safety that you're getting? No, right? Your money is not growing. Banks are not paying interest rates today, and anyone that says that they are, you're just, it's a joke, right? I mean, you're getting maybe 1% at the very most. So the second place, once people have their short-term savings figured out, what most people do is they start thinking to the future. What are all the things that they want in retirement? What do they need to do to get there? Now, most people, over 90% of the American public saving for retirement, their primary focus is saving in the stock market via a qualified plan. Having money in a 401k, a SEP, an IRA, or anything associated or qualified by the government as a vehicle to defer taxes. Now, the reason for long-term savings, the reason people aren't using banks is because they want to use it for retirement. And in hopes of getting more growth, they're willing to take more risk and they're willing to accept the fact that their money's not liquid, right? If you want to go on that same vacation, you're not going to put your money in a 401k because once it's in there, it's really kind of locked up, right? Now, the downside of a long-term savings for most people is you end up taking more risk, right? So if we pair these up, if we stack these up side by side, you'll notice that in the bank, the benefit is our money's liquid and safe, but we have to give up the idea of growth. In the long-term savings, in order to get growth, we have to be willing to take on more risk and accept the fact that our money is not liquid. We're losing in either scenario. Either way, there's a downside or an opportunity cost. This third box over here is to actually show you what we can do differently, how we can actually set up our own bank, and we're going to talk about that right now. The only saving strategy where you don't lose money, okay? Now we're going to get into these detail, but what I'm going to share with you now is I'm going to share with you a very unique account that you can set up, that anyone can set up, where your money will give you all of the benefits that you want in both a short-term savings account and a long-term savings account, all combined into one account. Right? In the other scenario, using banks and 401ks and the markets, there's a downside. But in this account, I'm going to show you how we can accomplish everything that we want in the exact same account, in the exact same way. So what if I told you that you could set up an account qualified by the government? This is not some secret offshore trust or anything like that. But what if I told you you could set up an account where you could achieve guaranteed growth on your money from now for the rest of your life, right? Every single year, what if your money was compounding and growing every single year, regardless of what the stock market did, right? If the stock market takes a plunge tomorrow, it's not going to impact this account at all. You get guaranteed growth. Now, when I say it's guaranteed, it's backed up by companies that have been achieving these guarantees and that have been meeting these guarantees and exceeding them for hundreds, when I say that plural, hundreds of years. These companies predate the stock market. These companies predate IRAs. These companies predate the tax status as we understand it today. So these companies are some of the longest, most tenured companies in the history of our entire country, and yet they're giving you a guaranteed rate of return. On top of that, the type of companies that we work with to set up these type of plans, they're private companies. You cannot buy stock in them, but when you set up one of these plans, as I'm going to explain to you, you will actually participate in their profitability. So every single year, as a mutual owner of the company, you receive a dividend. And like I said, these companies have over a 200-year or almost a 200-year track record. Your money is 100% safe. It's not tied to the government. It's not tied to the stock market. It literally is a private contract between you, a private individual, and a private life insurance company. Now, I know that might sound shocking. Most people, when they think of investing, they never think of life insurance, and for most people, it's not. But you can actually set up a life insurance policy where you will get amazing investment benefits, but it'll give you the ability to use your money in the short term and invest for the long term. Okay, so it's safe. Your money is private. It's private in the sense that it is a private contract. Now, here's one of the big reasons. Most financial planners today, what do they tell you to do with your taxes? Most people tell you that you're going to retire in a lower tax bracket, and so you should just take all of your taxes and defer them to the future, right? Put your money in a 401k, take a tax break today, and at some future point when you take money out, forget about it today, don't worry about it, you'll be in a lower tax bracket and you'll pay less in taxes. All that means, if you retire in a lower tax bracket, it means you are retiring poorer than you are today. Now, I don't know about you, but that's not the lifestyle I want to live in my retirement. So we don't want to just defer our taxes. We want to eliminate taxes altogether. And this account, this concept, is one of the very few vehicles, very few strategies that we can cut off and eliminate taxes from this point going forward. So it's tax-free. And then the next thing, and this is what we're going to be talking about over the next few videos, is the ability for you to use a concept that I call controlled leverage, right? Leverage is the ability to take your money and make it do multiple things. Now, most accounts don't give you that opportunity. When you put your money in a bank, it gets whatever benefit that bank offers, but the second you take the money out, it's now out and you put it somewhere else. In this account, I'm going to show you how we can actually use controlled leverage that you control. And you can use your money like a bank, where you can actually take the money, put it in, and use it to fund vacations, use it to fund real estate, and that's probably one of the main focuses that we'll talk about here. Or you can use it as a stream of income in the future, okay? Now, when you use your money like a bank, you'll have the ability to actually take your money, invest that money if you want to in a piece of real estate, so you're earning a rate of return now on the real estate, but you'll still earn a rate of return, a guaranteed rate of return and the dividend on the full sum of money inside of your policy, right? So if you have $25,000, your $25,000 can earn a rate of return and it can buy a piece of real estate. Now, I know that doesn't sound plausible. It doesn't sound likely. It doesn't even sound possible. Stick with me. On the next one, we're going to go into the details of exactly how this works. So again, guys, if you want access to this financial freedom formula, I highly encourage you to text cash flow to 797979. There is no obligation. You'll get a link where you can click on it. It'll take you right to a page where you can download this formula and see if this is something that you can put in place in your financial plan to achieve financial freedom, financial independence in 10 years or less. So guys, text, what are you waiting for? Join me on the next webinar. We'll talk to you then. Have a great day.